have prediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
Up here. Good morning. Welcome to Logic Nation. CJ Grisham here with you this morning. David has taken the day off. It's much well needed after a long weekend, and I've got so I'm filling his shoes, and filling my shoes is the great Greg Holland here. Welcome. Good morning. Thanks for coming. Oh, let me turn your mic on there. That might be there. Let me try this.
Test 1 2.
Good morning.
1, 2. Good morning. Good morning.
So we got CJ and Greg here today on Logic Nation, and a lot to talk about. I wasn't here the last couple of days. I was out in New York City.
Oh, get a rope.
Yeah. You know, I didn't go to any Mexican restaurants there, so I don't know what kind of picante sauce they use.
Pace.
Yeah, it couldn't have been Pace. But I did go to a great Korean restaurant. Apparently, they have some really good. I went to Koreatown.
You found it.
I found it. I tried to hit as many of the nifty little places I'd always heard about and as I could while I was there. And I didn't get to Koreatown until the day I was leaving. And I love spicy food. I love curry. My wife makes a great curry. But we usually get it from, Walmart in the little packages and everything. So it's kind of spice or whatever, but I'll tell you what, they had a 0, which is no spice, to 4. So 5 levels of spice. I thought, okay, I'm going to go in the middle and get a 2 curry. I can handle spicy pretty well, but I'm like, I don't want to. I'm going to get on the airplane. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to make it an uncomfortable ride.
Uncomfortable for who?
For everybody.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for everybody. Well, let me tell you, I couldn't even finish that plate of curry. That was so hot. I ate the beef because I had to, because I paid for it. But, man, it was good. But
was it like $37 or how was it expensive?
It wasn't actually that bad. It was I probably paid a little under $20 maybe. Wow. It's still, it's still a lot of money.
Could you buy a bigger soda than 16 ounces?
Man, yes.
You could?
Actually.
Really?
Yes. I don't know what happened with that. I was a little surprised because I brought my own plastic straws up there to New York City because I thought I'm not going to be able to have any straws up here. So I brought I guess you could call it an extended magazine of straws.
Assault straws.
Straws.
Very cool.
With me. And I took it with me the first day, but I got plastic straws everywhere I went.
Wow.
And I didn't have any. I got a large soda at, Chick-fil-A. Went to Chick-fil-A.
Wow.
And Chick-fil-A is incredibly busy. You would think that Chick-fil-A would have protesters and stuff standing outside in New York City now.
People know Jesus' chicken when they taste it. They know the best chicken.
Yes. Here's something I learned about. There's a difference between New York City liberals and Austin liberals that I didn't realize before. So I went to New York thinking I am going to be in the minority there. Everyone is going to hate me. And I took with me maximum triggering paraphernalia. In other words, T-shirts and hats.
Mm-hmm.
And I wore my Make Liberals Cry Again Trump 2020 hat every day I was there, except while I was at the radio conference.
Right.
I wore the radio show hat. And the difference is in Austin, you get sort of people talk down to you, they yell at you, they flip you the bird. They've always got something to say. But in New York City, nobody gave a flying flip.
They don't care.
They did not care about my hat or my shirt. As a matter of fact, and maybe it's just because they just didn't care enough to say something. Maybe that's the difference between Austin and New York City liberals. I think they detested me, but they don't let it bother them.
They don't let it become their mission in life to go after you.
Right. Whereas in Austin, it's just you can't do that.
No.
They have to say something. They have to make you aware of their opinion that they don't approve of your speech, your free speech.
Right.
And I had worn different shirts that I took with me. The first day I was wearing an abolish abortion shirt. I was at a pizza joint. The only thing that I noticed anyway was somebody behind me in line that was pointing to my shirt. And I only noticed it because I saw the reflection in the window. and then we had talked a little bit before that. It was just, line chit chat about the pizza. But after that, when I had turned around and made, some innocent comment.
Was it the Che Zuckerberg shirt?
It wasn't the Che Zuckerberg, no.
Because then you could have put 1776.shop on the back.
This was my abortion shirt. I think the abortion shirt got more hate than my hat did.
Wow.
The abolish abortion shirt. So I was really surprised. I was really surprised that I think Austin liberals need an education, and New York City liberals can give them that. How to accept
any poop on the streets.
Yeah.
Are there any poop? Did you see anybody defecating on the streets?
I didn't see it, but I smelled that. You cannot describe. I'm sure I could try, but a lot of people have just eaten breakfast.
Yes.
So I'm not going to try.
I appreciate that.
But the smells
They appreciate it.
of New York City, you cannot.
Is it like a porta-john in Iraq when it's 127?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty gross.
That is a great. There it is right there. New York City is an Iraqi porta-john when it's 107 degrees outside.
In the middle of nowhere, a porta-john where there's no covering, no nothing.
And my wife and I last night, we went to the Temple Mall and we were at the Bath and Body Works there, looking at all their new fragrances for soaps and things. And they have a soap they have a California soap, and they have this soap, a Hawaii scent. And then they had a New York City scent. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are they actually selling? And you smell it. It's all nice and fruity and pleasant. No, that is not what New York City smells like. Maybe
that was like the executive suite in Trump Hotel. Maybe that's what it was.
Oh, that could be, because I did go to Trump Hotel, and it was very pleasant inside Trump Hotel.
Very
nice and clean and smell good. But I'll tell you. But I will say I wasn't as anxious not being able to carry a firearm there, because there are cops everywhere. So I guess the only threat is getting shot by a cop. Thankfully, I don't sell cigarettes.
Oh, you would have been Eric Garnered.
I would have been Eric Garner, but there were police everywhere, which helped ease my anxiety a little bit about not having guns there. But that's mostly, you see the cops mostly where all the tourists are.
And let's make I think you should make a statement now before we go to break. Is that you are not advocating for a police state that we need more cops, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because some people, that probably went through one or two people's mind, me being one of them.
No, the point was where all the people were, where I would normally, because of my anxiety and PTSD, when there's a whole lot of people, I get very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And I worry about what someone's going to do. But where there's a lot of people, there were a lot of police officers. And that helped to mitigate that. But no, I would rather be my own
first responder.
So,
and you didn't have to. You got out of there just in time before a helicopter fell.
Yes, and that's something we're going to talk about. We got a lot to talk about, and you can talk with us at 866-895-6442. We'll be right back to take your calls and talk about all the things in the news today.
Need to sell your house? Most agents will put a sign in the ground, post it, and pray. My name is Ryan Smith of the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team and Keller Williams Realty. My business is based on getting top dollar for my clients. I believe in that so much that I will put my money where my mouth is. I will guarantee to sell your house in 90 days or less, or I'll sell it for free. I've developed an exclusive marketing system proven to get you up to 18% more money. If you want to know how I do it, I'll send you a copy of my marketing plan for free. 254-213-5335. Using my system, I recently sold a house for David and Janice in Temple's Bentwood subdivision for more than they even thought their house was worth. My system gets full price offers, multiple offers, and bidding wars. That means you make the most money. Don't take chances with your equity. No obligation. There's no commitments. You're not happy? I'll let you out of the program. There's literally no reason not to call us. 254-213-5335. That's 254-213-5335. We are the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team. Call us today and start packing tomorrow.
Social Security Disability Attorney Ed Laughlin.
Are you disabled and unable to work? Have you been denied your Social Security disability benefits? Well, tell the federal government that you mean business. Call me toll-free at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule an immediate appointment with me in Killeen, Temple, or Waco. I'll appeal your denial and work hard to get you the benefits that you deserve. That's 1-800-492-2589. The phone call is free, and so is the appointment. You'll feel a lot better.
If you're an advertiser, think about this.
Your prospects are bombarded with messages. Some, like TV commercials, can be fun. Some, like pop-ups and spam, are annoying.
And in a crowded media environment, it's important that you stand out.
That's why we seek out great sponsors with products and services that make your life better.
We feature your message in a radio show that's upfront, never background, and we talk about you on air.
It's all about branding and keeping your product top of mind.
So call or email us today.
Be part of the Logic Nation radio family.
I was visiting my 75-year-old aunt the other day when her phone rang.
Hello? It's you again.
She seemed nervous.
Well, I don't think I need any more life insurance.
The caller was doing a great job keeping my aunt on the line.
Okay, so you need my credit card number?
My aunt went to get her purse, so I decided that I would ask a few questions. Well, as soon as I introduced myself, the caller hung up.
Gruff the Crime Dog here. Recognizing the signs of fraud can be difficult for older people. Often they're very trusting and consider it impolite to hang up. The National Crime Prevention Council wants to educate seniors so that these scams can be reported to local law enforcement agencies.
Financial fraud can include identity theft, fake check and wire transfer scams, investment and credit card fraud, and online charitable solicitations. Unfortunately, only 1 in 5 of these crimes are reported. To learn more, go to www.ncpc.org. That's ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council and the U.S. Department of Justice.
All right, so welcome back. Let's talk a little bit about my New York City trip. Coming up, one of the things, some of the other stuff that we're going to talk about today is, does the government own your children? We're gonna go into that. There's a case here in Texas, I believe it was here in Texas, about actually it was here in Texas. Some of y'all might have gotten an Amber Alert. I want to talk a little bit about what that Amber Alert really was. And was it an Amber Alert? Does the government own your children, or do you? And can we even say we own anything anymore after what the NBA just did? You can't have owners.
Right.
You can't have owners. The Mesa police chief is in trouble. This is the police department out there that has had all of these issues with high-profile beatings and shootings of innocent and or unarmed people. Their Congolese migrants have arrived here in San Antonio, and you've got to hear some of this audio that we've got. If you think that illegal immigration is fine, well, what if they're bringing with them some really dangerous diseases, and what do the cities think about this?
And if you speak French, the city of San Antonio, they are begging you to come be a translator for them because they have 0 French-speaking interpreters on the ground now.
No parlez-vous français here.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui. I can say oui, oui.
Yeah.
Which is what New York City smells like. Supreme Court has ruled that filming the cops is grounds for being arrested.
Say what?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Texas raises the Governor Abbott. Now, we've talked about this on this show many times, about the bill to raise the age to buy tobacco from 18 to 21. Well, Governor Abbott signed that bill. We'll talk about that and where that's coming from, because there's also a federal push on that. And John Dean speaks at the Judiciary Committee, and I'm gonna spend a lot of time, I think, the second hour going through the audio on this, because there's a lot. This guy is a felon. This is who the Democrats bring as their star witness. The Judiciary hearing yesterday, the Democrats have to be upset about the crash, the helicopter crash in New York City.
Yes.
because it really cut into what they were trying to do to Donald Trump. And I'm sure a
Yes.
lot of people tuned out, and the news was suppressing this great hearing that the Democrats had put together. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about gun control, but let's go to the phones. We've got, let me pull up my little thing here. There we go, Marcus. Oh, Marcus. Good morning, man. Welcome to Lodge Nation, our first caller.
CJ, you've surprised me this morning, man.
Uh-oh. What did I do? Because I showed up?
No, man, you're talking good about Yankee liberals. It's just amazing. And you're a man that's been in a war zone. Right?
Now, Marcus, I don't think I was talking good about Yankee liberals. I was talking about the difference between them. There is no such thing as a good liberal that I know of.
If there must be something good if the Austin liberals can learn from them.
Oh, yeah. Well, Austin liberals could definitely learn a little bit about some kind of decency. But anyway.
Well, you're a man that's been in a war zone. And you know as well as I do that, hey, do you want to know who the enemy is or do you want to have to guess?
Oh, I definitely don't want to guess. That's why I open carry, because I don't want the enemy to guess whether or not I should be a target.
Exactly, right? So yeah, I kind of like it better down there in Austin. At least you know who the enemy is, right? Up there in New York, they're all your enemies, man. Every one of them. It's just that they're not that easy to identify.
You know what I think it is? There's two things. So first point I need to make to kind of clarify is I got looks. There were looks. I could tell that people did not like what I was doing. So I knew who the enemy was. They just didn't say anything. They just didn't bother to make their opinion known. They expressed it through their facial features and their postures and how they immediately turned themselves off after recognizing what I was wearing, but they just didn't vocalize it like Austin does. So they do kind of make themselves aware, just not as overtly. But yeah, you're right. But the second thing is, too, most of the people, at least where I went, were not even from New York City. And that might have had something to do with it as well, because there were a lot of tourists and everything. The people who live there, so for like the street performers, I know they're liberals. It's very easy to tell. But even the rappers out there, I had great conversations with rappers out there, with the people that wear costumes. But, you've got a point, Marcus. It is better to know your enemy. And I would have preferred that somebody come up and engage me so we can have a dialogue. I had a debate with one guy out in front of Trump Tower. We had a really long debate about gun control and President Trump. So I did get to have one engagement.
Well, this is the reason I love Trump, man, because with Trump, you don't have to guess, right?
Right.
You know, right? And love him or hate him, right? You don't have to guess for 1 minute what he's saying or whose side he's on. So
true.
Right? And you were in the land of AOC, Bubba. so you can believe that you were well despised, right? Now, just because they don't take the time to confront you, them people look at you as utter trash, man. And that's the truth, right? And that's the difference between conservatives and liberals, right? I think conservatives are becoming more aware that a lot of the hardcore Democrats are trash, right? They are literal trash, right? They want to murder children. They don't care about anything. They don't care about their own citizens. They don't, they care about what they want, and that's it, right? And there's no respect for the democratic process or anything else, because they want to destroy the democratic process because they lost out this last time, and they're a bunch of petulant children, right? That don't really believe in democracy, right? They want what they want, and they want it now, brother.
I will say that my biggest regret having gone to New York was not going to AOC's district office. I really, really wanted to go visit her congressional district office, and I just could not make the time because she's out in the Bronx, right?
Yes, New York 14.
Yeah. So she's out in the Bronx. I stayed mostly in Manhattan, Upper and Lower Manhattan. There was just so much that I wanted. I spent 3 hours, at Fox News at outside of Fox and Friends to meet up with my friend Pete Hegseth, who I haven't seen since 2009. Well, we talk online and we talk through text and stuff, but so being able to go see a fellow veteran, and we work together in Vets for Freedom. So that's 3 hours right there that I could have probably used. Went to World Trade Center, and I spent a lot of time there because that's very personal for me, having been deployed as a result of 9/11, and then of course the ferry, just getting down to South Pier so you can take the ferry to go see the Statue of Liberty. I mean, that's an hour just on the ferry because it's 30 minutes one way and 30 minutes the other, and then
you got more compliments on the hat than anything.
And I'll tell you what, Marcus, there were a lot of people. I got a lot of compliments about my hat, but again, a lot of these people are tourists.
Right.
I would think.
Well, it looked like one of the ferry operators,
but even the ferry operators. No, there were a lot of people that actually. Now that I think of it, there were a lot of people that were there that like.
We put it up on the TV. Tracy and I were watching it, and it was pretty cool because you were getting, hey man, dig the hat. You know, people were coming back by a couple times, too, bringing their friends by.
And I had a lot of people that actually wanted to take a picture with my hat.
No. So, they didn't want you in it. Just the hat.
You know, I think they had to. I'm sure they cropped it. I'm sure they did.
Absolutely.
No, I was in the picture. So. All right. Yeah, Marcus, you're right, brother. Anything else?
All right. Well, we love you, CJ, but always remember, man, them people are not your friends.
Yeah. I did worry the whole time about getting shivved while I was up there, and I was constantly looking in the I had to employ a lot of my counter surveillance measures while I was in New York City to make sure that there wasn't somebody trying to follow me and shiv me. But yesterday, speaking of New York City, so yesterday there was it's almost as if we missed all the craziness just in time. But there was a crash yesterday in New York City. Initially, nobody knew what was going on. They cut off 6th and 7th Street from 57th, which is up near Grand Central Station, down to like, I don't even remember how far down, but it was down to like, it was a ways down there. A helicopter taken off from 34th Street heliport at about 1:30, and then it crashed about 11 minutes later on the roof of a building on 7th Avenue. The only person that was killed is the deceased pilot. He has been identified as Tim McCormick. His family's been notified. Preliminary information is that he was the only pilot of the helicopter when it crashed on the roof of the building. It was raining at the time of the incident, heavy rainfall, and the cloud cover, the ceiling, had dropped so quickly that he could have gotten disoriented. But thankfully,
he saved a ton of lives.
He saved a ton of lives with however he did that. All right, 866-895-6442. We will be right back. At Logic Nation, our power is in our callers. In fact, Pat's on the phone. Pat, welcome to Logic Nation. What's on your mind today?
I get that you're the Logic Nation, but what about love, peace, and harmony, man? Why don't you ever talk about these issues?
We try to keep our listeners informed about local issues that matter to them, both locally here in the great state of Texas and in our nation.
You talk an awful lot about freedom and constitutional rights, but what about my right to express my emotions like love, peace, and harmony? What about my right to not be offended by what you're saying?
Well, Pat, you've gotten off the logic train, and now you're boarding the emotional express. That's a high-speed rail to nowhere. Here at Logic Nation, irrational emotional instability has no place in logical discussion.
But I need constant reassurance that my emotional stability will be coddled and my opinions force-fed to me.
Listen to Logic Nation Monday through Friday from 8 to 11 a.m., right before Rush, right here on KTEM, where logic is never derailed by emotion.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know. Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
For almost 2 centuries, Americans have enjoyed the valuable privileges of freedom. Now, freedom needs each American to dedicate himself to its preservation. We must not allow our liberties to be endangered by neglect of our duties as citizens. During this year of rededication, join with your fellow Americans in reaffirming the principles on which this country is founded and the safeguarding of those principles. Make it your business to see that federal, state, and local governments are conducted honestly. Help to maintain the good morale of your sons and daughters in the armed forces. Learn the facts about all candidates and issues. Then vote for the one you believe in. Make the most of every minute on your job. Produce as much as you can, and thus increase our military and economic strength. Work for better schools and a better community. Guard your American heritage of freedom. It needs you.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
1, 2, 3, My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure.
All right, welcome back. I love this song, too.
That song's pretty cool.
I love this song.
It just gets you in that. It's a toe tapper.
Yeah, one of the, going back to the New York thing, I was in New York, and they try to hawk everything, by the way, out there in the streets of New York. And one of the guys was there were some musicians. They do R&B, rap, reggaeton, and it was also, they had just done a parade it was Puerto Rico celebration parade or something like that. And there are a lot of Puerto Ricans in New York, and of course, yo soy gringo que habla español. I was a Spanish linguist, so I was speaking to them.
They don't see you coming.
They don't see me coming. But anyway, and I had asked them, what kind of music do you sing? And they were explaining it, and I was asking, well, what's interesting is I told them I listen to just about everything, and they started listing off stuff. I'm like, yeah, listen to that and listen to that. I love metal and country the most, but I could listen to some.
You can get down with just about anything.
Just about anything, yeah. So congratulations going out to Academy High School student who is going to be attending a NASA program. We might have here in our local listening audience an astronaut one day.
That's pretty cool. Congratulations, young man. What's his name?
His name's David Proctor. He's an Academy High School student, and he's off to space camp, one of 270 students from across Texas to be chosen for this program. It is very difficult to get into. He'll be attending the High School Aerospace Scholars Program at NASA's Johnson Space Center this summer, and he was nominated by our representative, Hugh Shine, to be a part of that program. He is the first Academy High School student to be invited to this program. I don't know if he's the first that's applied, but the Krug, who is the principal, says he's a phenomenal kid. He's well-rounded. He's academic. He's athletic. He does community service, and he represents our school very well. According to the press release, the program is open to high school juniors. During the school year, the students chosen to participate prepare by completing a 16-week online interactive curriculum. And once they arrive at NASA, they will attend briefings and interact with NASA experts, tour JSC facilities, and work as a team to plan a mission to Mars.
Hey, David Proctor, proud of your boy. Go for it, kid.
Yeah.
Leave no regrets on the table, young
That's
man.
right. little academy going to be representing there in NASA. So congratulations to him. Now, one of the things that I brought up, well, first let's talk about, unfortunately, there's good and bad coming out of Academy. Little River Academy volunteer firefighters, 3 of them have been arrested. A local fire department and this has just been plagued. Their fire department right now has just been plagued with problems, especially past charges of theft of funds by its former chief. And his son is facing issues again, but not financial ones. They were arrested Wednesday by Bell County Sheriff's Department. John Burrows, the assistant fire chief, John Mercer, a captain, and Joshua Adkins, a lieutenant, were in the Bell County Jail. That's like the entire leadership.
From top to bottom, yeah.
From top to bottom on that, in that fire department. They're all jailed on third-degree felony holds, and the charge at press time was listed as screening. So we don't know exactly what it was, but TJ Cruz, the Bell County sheriffs are not discussing any of the details that led to the arrest until former charges have been filed. This kind of drives me nuts about Bell County, because if you or I are thrown in before we get charged, I guarantee you they tell the media exactly why you and I would be arrested for something.
And your past.
And our past, yeah.
Right.
Well, we arrested him for this, but he hasn't been formally charged. He's been arrested on this.
And if you remember, C.J. Grisham has a history of XYZ.
Yes.
Even though it was dropped, he has the history.
Right.
So they plant the seeds to formulate the opinion for you.
But when it's a government official, they do everything to protect that individual from any prying eyes.
Yes.
So he said he's not going to discuss the details, said he believes that Burrows was looking for someone for the bond company and approached a woman in a car. Anderson mentioned the woman sped away in the vehicle, and at some point he believed a gun was drawn by there's just so much. Something might have happened by someone, somewhere.
That's a hearsay.
So Burrows, a convicted felon, is not a licensed bail bondsman, but was working Wednesday for Anderson. Burrows doesn't apprehend people, but just finds them and calls the police. I still have no idea what this whole thing is about.
Hence my reasoning for canceling the Temple Daily Telegram. While I don't subscribe to it, I will just go online and print articles from time to time.
This is just... Okay, there you go. There's the headline is 3 volunteer firefighters arrested. I read through that, tried to figure it out, thought maybe I could figure it out a little better if I read it on the air, and I still could not. Now, those of you who have cell phones probably got an Amber Alert or 2 yesterday, and the Amber Alert was for a toddler boy believed to have been abducted by his parents in League City. Let me say that one more time. A toddler boy believed to have been abducted by his parents in League City. Once again, the media is failing me on this.
So does CPS own the boy? I mean, who?
Well, that's the problem. So the child, Malachi Bankhead, was believed to be in danger, and I don't know. As of today, I couldn't see that I think he was found. I think they were able to find him. But they're investigating the parents. Malachi is likely to still be with Ulrich, but the 2 suspects were last seen in League City driving a BMW X3, license plate KSW 8656. Ulrich of Seabrick is out on bond for a December 18 misdemeanor theft case, and Bankhead is also out on bond for an evading arrest charge. But the Houston Chronicle's not saying... If you're evading arrest, what was the arrest for?
Right. Was it an expired tag? I mean, what was this for?
We're going to talk a little bit more about this when we get back, because this gets to the heart of...
This leads into something.
Does the government own your children, or do you? Ladies and gentlemen, spring has sprung, and it's time for spring cleaning, and your headquarters for that is Smith Supply, located at 5202 Midway Drive in Temple, Texas. They have everything to clean anything, residential or commercial. From inside your house to outside at your pool, Smith Supply can run a complete computerized water analysis for free. Then the experts at Smith Supply can recommend the chemicals that will get your pool looking great for your family and your friends this spring and summer. They can also keep your pool in outstanding condition all season long. Plus, they sell pool equipment with everything to clean anything. Smith Supply can help your inside cleaning as well. Don't forget, they deliver within 150 miles of Temple and can ship anywhere in Texas. So, get your house and pool in spring cleaning shape and save money on high-quality products. SmithSupply.com or call 254-773-3592. That's 254-773-3592 or online at smithsupply.com. Since 1961, Smith Supply.
Divorce attorney Ed Laughlin.
Is your marriage on the rocks? Have you been wanting to get a divorce but just haven't found an attorney that you can afford? Well, your search for an affordable attorney is finally over. I'm attorney Ed Laughlin, and I've been helping Texans get fast, inexpensive, hassle-free divorces for 25 years. I offer reasonable fees and always allow my clients to pay out their fees in payments that they can afford. Call me today at 773-8399 or toll-free 1-800-492-2589 to schedule a free confidential appointment to get started. The first visit is always free.
What are you waiting for? Call Ed Laughlin today at 1-800-492-2589 or visit Ed's website at edlaughlin.com. That's 1-800-492-2589 or online at edlaughlin.com. That's 1-800-492-2589. Let Ed help you with all your legal needs. You'll feel a whole lot better. See Ed's ad in Names and Numbers.
Mike Moolah here to tell you to wrap your head around success and talk straight. Cliches don't solve problems. It's a win-win situation when you hire me to speak to your business. I will cause a paradigm shift in your profitability by showing you visionary ways to circle back and think outside the box. The Moolah Plan is where the rubber meets the road as we ballpark success as a team and go back and sharpen our pencils to right-size your business plan. I'll show you how to manage the optics of changing through creative destruction and downsizing while making customer service our number one priority. Our employees are of utmost importance, so let's square the circle and at the end of the day, take the lipstick off the pig and strategize the perfect storm. Mike Moolah's Moolah Plan, an agent of change. So don't leave any money on the table. Hire me to speak to your business today. Remember, hope is not a strategy.
All right, so does CPS own your children? Does the government own your children? If you don't do something that the government likes, or if you do something that the government doesn't like, does the government have the right and the ability to simply take away your children? And this is a very important question because the story of Malachi Bankhead from yesterday, Greg and I did this last night trying to figure out what was going on with this. And by the way, he has been found safe.
He is safe, thank God.
I wonder if he was ever truly in any danger. The police are saying that the child's life was endangered. But what does that mean? Details haven't been given out yet. So I'd like to ask the audience, this is kind of our question of the day. This is something I like to do when I'm hosting the show is get y'all talking. At what point do you think that the government has a right to take your children away from you? Now, I would argue that obviously imminent danger. If the child's life or health is being sacrificed by extreme negligence, then yes. But the problem is, you are. I've got in here somewhere that I pulled up, but you are 7 times. Children are 7 times more likely to excuse me, to be abused and neglected in CPS care than in the general public. So the question is, is CPS truly helping children who are endangered? But no story so far that I could find has given a reason why this child was so-called abducted. And is a child really abducted when it's the parents? Now, here's the issue. CPS went to a judge and asked the judge to sign an order that the family relinquish control of their children to CPS. So government went to government to demand that a private citizen turn over their children to government. Well, the parents did what, quite honestly, I would do. And they basically said, up yours. We're not going to, these are our kids. So I have to wonder, and that's why the child was abducted. That's why they're trying to claim that the child was abducted, because the parents didn't turn them over to the government. But we've looked everywhere trying to find out exactly what the reason was. Now, the father, if I'm not mistaken, it was on probation or bond for a misdemeanor theft thing. Remember, and in Dallas, they don't even prosecute misdemeanor theft if it's under $75. So this is a minor crime. Should kids be taken away from parents because their parents engaged in misdemeanor theft? I don't think so. I mean, it's obviously bad parenting. And then the mother had another minor issue that they didn't even bring up, what her issue was. But they were both minor type things, and I still don't see. Now, I'm going to reserve judgment here. I would like to think that CPS is doing the right thing. The problem is the statistics show otherwise, that kids are more likely to be, the kids are more likely to die, to be abused, or to be neglected in CPS care than in the care of the general public. So I kind of want to know what y'all think.
I had a child, dude, she decided to tell a teacher when I was going through my divorce that, hey, mom and dad are arguing, they're going through divorce, blah, blah, blah. There was no abuse in the house going on or anything, and invited CPS. Well, I let the lady come in, sit down on the couch. I had no idea she was coming over. And right after that, my daughter, she was really young at the time. I said, you understand what that lady's here for? She goes, I never want her back in this house again. She understood I think she was 13 at the time. She understood what they were there for.
Yeah.
That was to separate and divide. That's what they are there for. And it's not because she's doing it for the best interest of anybody other than the state.
And what are their interests? That's what you got to ask yourself.
That's right.
John and Temple, you're up next on Logic Nation. Good morning.
Hey, first of all, the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yes.
Number two, the aim of the government these days is to destroy what we used to call the nuclear family. The dad, the mom, the 2.3 kids, all that. They want to interject themselves in between you and your kids. That's their goal. We've become a society that worships dogs and cats, and really doesn't care about the American family at all. Hey, there's the Allman Brothers music.
Yeah, hang on, John. I'm gonna hold you over. I'm gonna hold you over because we didn't have enough time to keep you on, but I want to get your thought out. We're talking about CPS and what control do they have or should they have over your children. So when we come back, we'll go back to your calls right away and give you plenty of time. 866-895-6442 is the number, so stand by.
Rich is just a really, really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada. Nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It's hard to.
Pearl Jam, we're just talking about, man, Eddie Vedder, uber liberal, but man, I love his music there. All right, going back, John, go continue.
Yeah. So what I've noticed is that the government likes to interject itself more and more into the family, into your business, trying to take away your individual responsibilities in raising your children, and they want to be in control of your children. Look at what you guys talk about all the time with the transgender stuff, right? You wouldn't be telling your kids it's okay to be, dressing up in the wrong clothes, but the government's going to tell you that. And at what point? Let's suppose you have a 5-year-old, 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They want to wear a dress to school. It's a male, or vice versa. Well, I guess it wouldn't work that way. But anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, and that's...
And you say no, okay? You say no.
Right.
Because you're the dad.
Yep.
All right? You got a right to say no. Point blank, it ain't the CPS's business. It's not the government's business. That's your business. And anybody that disagrees with that is wrong.
Well, we've got a case right now here in Dallas where the parents are divorced. The child splits custody between the mom and the dad, and the mom dresses their son, James, as a girl, calls him Luna, but when he's with the dad, he's all boy, his sex at birth. Now, what's going on right now is that the mom wants to go, who's got primary custody of the child, the mom does, she wants to help this kid trans over into being a girl. So start these procedures and all these things to basically turn her son supposedly into a girl. The father is absolutely against it. So what's going on?
Getting the court involved.
They got the court involved, and they say that the father is abusing the child by not letting the child be who he thinks she is, or who she thinks he is.
Here's your son.
So they're going to throw the dad in jail because he's trying to do the right thing by his son.
Yeah, this is the problem, because that's the problem, is if you disagree with the political correctness of what our government is pushing out there, now you've got this dad out there who's about to lose custody of his son, complete custody, because he's being charged with abuse because he refuses to accept the mom's narrative that his son thinks he's a girl.
Well,
but,
all I can tell you guys is I got nothing more to say than I got a big middle finger for government involvement between the parents and the kids.
Yeah. Amen. Thanks, John, for the call. Mike in Georgetown, you're next on Logic Nation.
Hey, guys, good morning. Hey, my problem is I admit there's legitimate cases where children have to be taken away from the parents.
Yes.
But I'm
I agree
sorry,
with you.
when something happens to those children, there should be criminal charges filed on whoever put them in that situation. Child endangerment, whatever. They had done the same thing to the parent. If something happens to the child under their care, they would have filed charges on the parents. Why aren't they held criminally responsible for what happens to these kids? And like you say, the statistics prove it.
Yeah.
That there's a lot happens.
The problem is government wants a monopoly on corruption, wants a monopoly on incompetence, wants a monopoly on force and violence and threats, and your children apparently too, because when you go in that, you just brought up the main frustration that I have with government, and it's why so many people like me who used to be, I say I was asleep. I used to think government has our best interests at heart. No, government has government's best interests at heart. That doesn't matter what they say. As an organization, as a corporation, government has government's best interest. Look at the legislation that was passed. And I'll bring this to guns for half a second. The gun owners got absolutely nothing. However, if you are a government official, you just got more rights this legislative session.
That's right.
You don't have to pay for your licensing. You can carry in places that ordinary citizens can't play or carry. And it's in all facets of society, and you brought up something a lot of people don't think about. When you and I abuse our children, when you and I neglect our children, we are held not only criminally liable, but civilly liable. We lose our children forever. But government, when they neglect our children, when they abuse our children, when they kill our children, there's absolutely no repercussions, and there should be.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought up the guns thing because, something else that irritates me is the fact that law enforcement, if you will look at the statistics, the crime rate among law enforcement officers is higher than on CHL holders.
Since 1995, it's 0.026% of CHL holders have that's the conviction rate for CHL holders. It's
exactly.
Law enforcement officers are what is it, 7 times or 6 times more likely to be convicted of a crime.
The conviction rate for licensed to carry holders is 0.3%, and the conviction rate for the law enforcement community is 1.9%, which is a little.
And you notice what CJ did there. He rounded our side up and didn't round theirs up. Just to prove that not the numbers aren't always skewed. So we round up just to make it even on our side, and then kept the numbers exactly how they're reported.
Yes, I round up on our side and round down on theirs.
Right.
Yes, and the statistics we will never see is the crime rate among government officials. From your county and cities all the way up. We'll never see those statistics.
No way.
Hey, thanks, Mike, for the call. I appreciate it. Got to move on to some commercials, and we'll be right back.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food. Cha-ching. And $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted. Which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back. Hour 2. Logic Nation here. CJ Grisham standing in for David Hodges, and standing in for me is Greg Holland this morning, helping me to answer phones and providing some other context and stuff like that. But if you want to be a part of the program, give us a call, 866-895-6442. At the end of last hour, we were talking about CPS and government control over your children. And I was bringing up the issue in Dallas where a Dallas father is essentially being accused of being unfit because he doesn't believe that his son is his daughter. And since the mom is trying to help their son transition to becoming a daughter, he's the bad guy. And so going off on that, on why, and again, don't forget, in CPS, your children, well, not your children, but children are 7 times more likely to be the victim of abuse or neglect than in the general public. 7 times, folks. Now, there's a story out of the UK by the this is the National Council for Civil Liberties has apparently been infiltrated by the Pedophile Information Exchange. And okay, so what they go by PI. So they're lobbying the National Council for Civil Liberties for the age of consent to be reduced and campaigning for, quote, pedophile love. Do you remember when we were accusing the LGBTQ IA community that this was just leading to pedophilia? We were all convinced,
and what
no,
they say,
that's sick, that's not right. No. Well, they view children, their view that children are not harmed by having sex with an adult appears to have been adopted by those at the top of the civil liberties group. So this is a story in the Express News out of the UK where they're publishing extracts now of the NCCL report written for the Criminal Law Revision Committee. It says this, quote, where both partners are aged 10 or over, but under 14, a consenting sexual act should not be an offense. As the age of consent is arbitrary, we propose an overlap of 2 years on either side of 14, unquote. This is what the left is trying to do.
Sick.
And if you, of course, disagree with this, likely, then you're the problem.
You're a bigot.
You're a bigot. The report goes on, quote, childhood sexual experiences willingly engaged in with an adult results in no identifiable damage. The Criminal Law Commission should be prepared to accept the evidence from follow-up research on child victims, which show there's little subsequent effect after a child has been, quote, molested. This is sick and disgusting. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Quote, the real need is a change in the attitude which assumes that all cases of pedophilia result in lasting damage. The present legal penalties are too high and reinforce the misinformation and prejudice. The duty of the court should be to inquire into all the relevant circumstances with the intention not of meting out severe punishment, but of determining the best solutions in the interests of both child and pedophile. We've got to... Is that commercial?
You know who's licking their lips right now? The pedophile.
The pedophile.
Yeah.
Exactly. They think it's okay to have sex with children as young as, well, they're saying 10, but they want the law to codify 12.
Right.
With an adult. I'll tell you what.
My blood's boiling just listening to this.
This is why I do not care about whether I offend the people that are pushing this agenda. I'm not talking about people who are gay. I don't care. Live your life.
Right.
You go live your life. What two consenting adults do, two consenting adults do. You guys do that. But when you start talking about, I mean, that's enough. And I'll stand up to this idea that we're supposed to go around waving flags. And if you don't agree with this idea that waving a rainbow flag or flying a rainbow flag underneath the American flag is bad, sorry, I don't. You can call me a bigot. You can call me whatever you want. But the reason that we stand up so much to that is because there's no end to it.
Right.
It's not just about doing this. It's about going further. I have a feeling they won't stop until infants are included in this.
Yeah, before long, maybe they'll at least acknowledge that abortion's bad, but they'll only do so because they want to incorporate the pedophile's feelings and his mission a little better.
I mean, it's just absolutely sick and disgusting. It's I don't even know where to go on that. And yet, the reason I bring this up, because this is in the UK, that we have these kinds of people here. Look at what's going on. Golly, here in Central Texas, we've got these drag queen story hours going on.
Down in Cedar Park or Leander.
Leander, one of them. What is this? This is a way for the extremists in this community to target our children. And what's even more sick is that there are even straight parents, but liberals, who take their kids to this and think that it's perfectly fine. There's a story that I shared recently that a teacher who's going through the process of supposedly changing his gender, but for Gay Pride Month, the teacher forced students to listen to his conversion story. They had to sit there and listen to why he thinks why being a woman and dressing like a woman and doing a sex change and all that stuff is so great and wonderful.
You know, you can cross-dress all you want, but you can never change your gender. These people are trying to normalize that and making you believe that it can happen. Sorry, pal. It just can't happen.
It's impossible.
It is physically science.
You might make yourself look like a woman. And there are some manly looking women and there are some womanly looking men. Some people just have softer features.
You could go to Lowe's and Temple and see one.
Yeah, but you will never change your gender. Ever.
Ever. It cannot be done.
Transgender doesn't exist except as a word.
It's just a word in Urban Dictionary, and it just makes me take you less serious when you say you are one.
Exactly. Just say that you're a man who thinks he's a woman.
You got Robert on the phone.
And, I'm sorry, I didn't even see that. Hey, Robert, I didn't even notice we had a phone call. I'm sorry, brother. But I've only got 20 seconds left, so as soon as we get out of the break, we'll take your call and anyone else's call because I want to give you plenty of time because Robert's always got great points here.
Absolutely.
So, but the idea is this agenda does not stop. And if our government is included in this, if the left gets its way and all of these mental illnesses are codified into law, then CPS can start taking your children because you simply disagree with that agenda. I see it all the time right now. I'm getting doxxed like crazy online. People are sharing my phone number and my address, threatening me with violence. Why? Because I have a brain.
What do the police do about it?
Nothing. Where's my DPS escort, Mr. Bonin?
Social Security Disability Attorney Ed Laughlin.
Are you disabled and unable to work? Have you been denied your Social Security disability benefits? Well, tell the federal government that you mean business. Call me toll-free at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule an immediate appointment with me in Killeen, Temple, or Waco. I'll appeal your denial and work hard to get you the benefits that you deserve. That's 1-800-492-2589. The phone call is free, and so is the appointment. You'll feel a lot better.
Here at Logic Nation, we're here to inform you, entertain you, and engage you.
We're also here to keep you informed about great products and services. Our goal is to seek out great sponsors for two major reasons.
The first reason is that we need sponsors to ensure that we can continue bringing you cutting-edge commentary, sound bites, and callers.
Second, we love telling you about companies that make your life better.
That's logical.
So make your company a part of our radio family.
At logicnation.us. Today.
You hear the Logic Nation on our great radio station in this area, but there are other places to find us as well.
To be a caller on the show, the Logic line is 866-895-6442 or 866-89-LOGIC.
If you'd like to join our radio family as a sponsor, email me, David Hodges, at david@logicnation.us or executive producer Luann Anderson at la@logicnation.us.
Find us on Facebook, too. Like our new Logic Nation page to keep up with the articles and videos that we use on the air. Also find show content on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
The official show site is logicnation.us. Go there for information about the show and to access our official live stream.
Our great affiliates are streaming as well, so look for us on their websites.
Most important, catch us on this radio station you're enjoying right now. Tune in and be logical.
The Logic Nation is in touch. Hope you'll be too.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran, but after I got out, I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet. Now I'm getting things right with my family.
I finally admitted, with my PTSD, I wasn't doing well.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Now I wish I'd found DAV sooner. I am a veteran. My victory is just enjoying each day.
Help support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
All right, so Robert, you are next on Logic Nation out of Morgan's Point. Good morning, sir.
Morning. I'm going to touch on a couple of points. The one you were just talking about, if you really want to stop that, you know what you need to do? What we need to do is not worry so much about the lobbying groups, but who they're talking to.
Yeah.
We need to dox them. Every politician that meets with a NABLA group or any of these pedophile groups, we need to make them famous and then make them unemployed. That's how you take away that power.
Yep.
Because that group is big, the pedophiles are huge, they're always going to raise money. But everybody they talk to, dox them and see what happens. When politicians are gone, they'll quit talking to these groups.
Well, I know what'll happen. Dennis Bonnen will send out DPS troopers to watch their house.
Right.
That's what happens when you dox a politician for putting your children in danger.
And you know what I thought of, too? I thought of it, well, actually, a friend of mine kind of planted the seed, and I kind of ran with it, is that these people who disagree with us, Constitution-loving Americans, they call us fascists. I think we focus too much on fighting them on what they're calling us. What I've started to do is, and it's working, you go, sure, I'm a fascist. Fine. Agree with them. You and I went to a Trump rally, Trump's not above the law rally in Austin, and we did something unknowingly and without a mission. We agreed with them. And what happened? Their heads exploded. So whenever they call me a fascist, I go, okay, yes, I am. So I started saying yes. And you know what they're doing? They don't have a response. They have to regroup and reload. So what that means is, since they can't think for their own, they have to go home, get orders from whoever's giving them the marching orders.
Hey, what do we do if they agree with us, man?
He just agreed that he was fascist. What do we do?
Yeah.
They have no response.
Here's my other point. we keep talking to these Democrats and talking about what's so bad with this Mexican deal that Trump has gotten with tariffs. The real problem they have with that is what Donald Trump just did is verify and justify that tariffs work. So that strengthens his position on what he's doing with China, what he's doing with North Korea, and they don't want to give him credit for anything. They want to undermine tariffs. But Mexico had just came out and said, no, they work. We guarantee you they work because we don't want to have no parts of them. That's why they're scared and upset over this tariff deal. It's not so much that it worked with Mexico. It's the implications beyond that. It says everything he's doing with China is correct. Everything he's doing with North Korea is correct. And they've already established they would undo all of that. So if it's correct and it's working, then you don't want them in office. That's why they're so upset over what happened in Mexico. Because Obrador himself came out and said, this was a great deal for us because we couldn't handle the tariffs. They got nothing to say. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, their entire argument is based on simply defeating Trump, and they don't even know why anymore.
You know, I don't think the Democrats have ever read Sun Tzu's The Art of War, but they use it quite a bit because all war is deception. They're at war with us, and all they do is try to deceive people.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
They can quote a lot of things, but you ask them to talk about it, and they have nothing.
Nothing. Because it's an empty soup. They know there's nothing in there. It's a big glass of nothing.
That's right.
You know, it's that Russian collusion drink I was talking about. You just hand them an empty glass. There's nothing there.
And the other problem, and I guess this goes with all politicians, but I think especially Democrats, is after they craft this grand plan, and generally the grand plan inevitably fails because the Democrat agenda and the Democrat philosophy is a failed philosophy. You just look around the world and liberalism fails. Modern liberalism. Now, liberalism used to be great because liberalism is how Germany got a constitution, how most of Europe got constitutions, how individual liberty was spread throughout the country, how individual liberty was spread to this country. It used to be that liberalism, I mean, Thomas Jefferson was a liberal. Liberalism meant increased freedom.
That's right.
Today, liberalism doesn't mean that, but we call them liberals. So the modern day liberal or progressive or socialist, I guess is the best way, agenda is a failure everywhere they go. So they create this, they're great at organizing. So what they do is they craft this giant plan, they disseminate this giant plan, they execute this giant plan, only to have the giant plan fail. Right. So instead of recognizing, well, crap, it failed, maybe we need to rethink this. No, they just move on to the next thing.
Right.
If you're a true liberal and you vote based on liberal principles and what a liberal politician would do, you'd be voting Republican now.
That's correct. That is absolutely right.
That is why the Democrats are so upset, because that was once their base, and they know how big that is. And they've traded that in for the socialists. And the two are not compatible. But classic liberalism is very compatible with conservatism. It's basically the same animal, but they go about executing it a little different at times.
And
but
this
the end result they want is the same.
Yeah. And the perfect explanation of this is you take the LGBT agenda. Classical liberalism would be, look, if you want to be gay, go out there, marry whoever you want. Government should have no role in that. Just don't affect me. Modern liberalism is that exact same thing plus, but you have to accept it.
Yeah.
And you have to think that it's normal. And you have to think it's acceptable.
You're going to let me jam this down your throat, or
Yes.
I'm going to call you a bigot, misogynist, and whatever cool word I'm told to call you.
Yeah, that's
Well, look
you.
at the
You go
Democrats
live
right
your
now.
life is the classical one, and then the modern day liberal is you go live your life. Oh, and by the way, everyone else, you have to accept that the way they're living their life is acceptable.
Right.
Hey, now look at what the Democrats are doing, trying to throw Martin Luther King under the bus. Why are they doing that? Because he clearly said, can we disagree without being disagreeable?
Yeah.
They don't go for that at all. They got to be disagreeable.
Well, that's why
Whether
they
agree with you
they
or
hate
not,
people like
they
Ben
gotta be
Carson,
disagreeable.
because Ben Carson says when the conversation gets higher, the mood and everything gets elevated, I talk lower. So if you truly want to hear what I have to say, you're going to have to lower your voice to hear me.
Yeah, he forces you to stay calm and stay on topic, and that's why they don't like talking to him.
Yeah,
because
they
can't win on
despise that
topic.
guy, and I love him even more when he does it.
He's a genius.
Yep.
He does a good job of communicating, and that bothers them greatly.
Yeah, he's not a
All
bad
they do
surgeon
is
either, from what I
bluster.
heard.
Yeah, must not be. So I'll let you guys get back to it. I got to get back to cutting the grass.
All right, Robert. Yeah, and here's a perfect example of this. Owen Schroyer, for those of you who don't know who he is a reporter with InfoWars. Think what you want about InfoWars. I'm not going to get into the argument.
And he has a great program called The War Room, which is off of InfoWars, but he runs his own program called The War Room.
And I know Owen, he's a good guy. He's a lot like me. We're so fed up with the liberal agenda, and so sometimes we do things to intentionally get people to talk and think. Well, he was out in San Antonio, and we'll talk about let's talk about why he was there. Then we'll get into what he was there for and what happened. Well, no, because this is a great segue. He was out in San Antonio. He was protesting the fact that a bunch of illegal immigrants were dropped on San Antonio. They had no idea this was coming.
How many?
350.
From Congo.
Now, these were from the Congo. So the Congo right now is facing a really bad Ebola outbreak.
Now, they came through Ecuador first.
Yes.
It's retracing their steps, man. That they have been on one hell of a journey.
An epic journey, yes. And you have to wonder who's funding that journey. That's a long way to go and a long time to go without money.
I don't think they walked very much.
Right. But the Congo right now has got over 2,000 cases of Ebola. The Ebola virus is not a pretty thing at all. No. And so these Congolese people, and here's what you should be worried about, is the idea that we're anti-Latino, anti-Mexican when we want to build a wall. If these Congolese migrants who came up, they left the Congo, crossed the Del Rio, crossed into the Del Rio sector from Ecuador, who else is coming up here? Everyone, if you are a bad actor, you recognize where our borders and where our immigration policy has got its gaps. And why not exploit that? If you're a bad actor, you know how to exploit and get into this country and cause maximum damage. I'm not saying that about these Congolese, but I will say that there's the potential for Ebola to be spread. So these they arrive in San Antonio. San Antonio is now scrambling to find French-speaking volunteers, of course, to help with hundreds of Congolese migrants that are arriving into Alamo City. The interim city manager, Colin Bridger, told Ken's 5, quote, "We didn't get a heads up. When we called Border Patrol to confirm, they said, yeah, another 200 to 300 from the Congo and Angola will also be coming to San Antonio. You've already got 350 there. Now they're confirming another 250 or 200 to 300 coming. So Owen Schroyer and InfoWars are down there in San Antonio. They're talking about this issue. They're outside of a restaurant on the sidewalk. They're not filming the restaurant. When we come back from the break, I'm going to play audio for you. Owen was attacked. He was attacked because he was bringing attention to the fact that potential Ebola-stricken illegal immigrants are being dropped off literally within 2 hours of the listening audience right here.
DWI and criminal defense attorney Ed Laughlin. Just because you or a loved one has been pulled over or arrested for DWI does not mean you're guilty of DWI. I'm attorney Ed Laughlin, and to be arrested and charged with DWI, the officer has to only have probable cause that you're intoxicated. It's only the officer's opinion. However, to be convicted of DWI, your guilt must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a much stricter burden. If you have been arrested for DWI or any other offense and want an attorney who will rigorously defend you, call me at 1-800-492-2589 or log on to my website at edlaughlin.com. Over the past 25 years as an attorney, I've been both a prosecutor and now a defense attorney. You need an experienced attorney who will work hard to get you the justice that you deserve.
What are you waiting for? Call Ed now at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule a free confidential appointment or visit Ed's website at edlaughlin.com. First visit is always free. You're going to feel a whole lot better. See Ed's ad in names and numbers.
You wouldn't steal from a department store, would you? Shoplifting doesn't only hurt the store owners, it puts every employee's job in jeopardy. And if everyone shoplifted, it would weaken local economies to the point of unsustainability. The same principle applies to Social Security fraud. People who receive more benefits than they should or illegally get benefits by lying to Social Security aren't just making the system insecure, they're literally stealing from honest taxpayers. Anyone can report fraud anonymously. You can learn more about Social Security's relentless anti-fraud efforts at www.socialsecurity.gov/anti-fraud-facts. We aggressively investigate and pursue prosecution of those who try to cheat and steal from the system. Shoplifting and stealing from your neighbors is morally and ethically wrong. The same goes for stealing from Social Security. If you suspect someone is committing Social Security fraud, report it online at http://oig.ssa.gov/report or call the Social Security Fraud Hotline at 1-800-269-0271.
It can begin with an email, a phone call, a flyer in the mail, or perhaps a misleading website. Loan modification scams. They come in all shapes and sizes and under different names. Loan rescue firms, counseling services, mortgage consultants, sometimes posing as a legitimate mortgage company willing to help you modify your loan and get caught up with your payments. But beware, these are highly trained con artists looking to steal your home. They often know who you are, where you live, and because it's public record, know if you are on the brink of foreclosure. You're not alone, however. The National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice have partnered to help homeowners identify and steer clear of these scam artists.
McGruff the Crime Dog here. Protect your home and safeguard your finances. It only takes a little time to become informed. Start by finding a free legitimate housing counselor today.
Take the first step. Visit www.ncpc.org/mortgage-fraud. That's ncpc.org/mortgage-fraud. This message is from the National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice.
A popular Christmas movie features the story of a dejected businessman who sees life as if he had never been born. He discovers that, despite all his failures, he has brought joy and life to countless people. Each person has so much potential for good, and nowhere is this potential greater than with an unborn child. This Christmas and always, please work to preserve the wonder of life for the unborn and their mothers. This has been a perspective on life from National Right to Life. For more information, visit our website at nrlc.org.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
866-895-6442. I want to play just a little bit of this audio, and then we're going to go to AJ, who wants to talk about this as well. But this is Owen Schroyer's video. This is from his video, and this is a few minutes long, but I'm not going to make AJ wait through the whole thing. He goes down there. Explain a little bit, just in about 10 seconds.
So what happens is Owen Schroyer goes down to San Antonio where these 350 Congo migrants are dropped off. And he wants to interview some of the migrants, if they speak English, and San Antonio residents to get their opinions. Well, they're next to a Japanese restaurant called Kimura. Well, long story short, a Kimura staff waitress throws a set of chopsticks at Owen's cameraman, hits him in the face, hits him, I believe, in the eye, and Owen is pretty PO'd about it. So he says he's going to file a police report. Well, the general manager loses it. So I call up there, and if you want to call Kimura, that's fine. We ask that you do it respectfully. The number is 210-444-0702. We ask that you be respectful and just let them know your dissatisfaction with the way they treat patrons and people that are walking on the sidewalk. PJ is the general manager's name. He was out there. He was being very rude to Owen, calling him a racist, a bigot, a misogynist, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, this is
a problem. Ebola. There's 2,000 confirmed cases that the CDC knows of in the Congo for Ebola, and we're letting these people in. So this is a problem.
Here's a little bit of this, and this is PJ, the manager, speaking with Owen.
So she just assaulted my cameraman.
You're recording our table, our kids.
Excuse me, your waitress just assaulted my cameraman, sir. How about we press charges? Would you like that?
Why don't you get out of our face right now?
Out of your face. I'm filing a report, and you throw this at my cameraman. What if that poked his eye out, man?
No, it's not you. You
How did I cause a scene?
You really need a story.
How did I bother
You're
your
that
dad?
desperate for a story.
There could be potential Ebola right across the street from your
I
restaurant.
do not
You
give
care?
okay?
You don't give a fuck about Ebola?
We're being.
All right, so that we'll play a little bit more of this later.
And
but I wanna
200 more are going to be dropped off. And the infectious disease doctor for San Antonio said, Border Patrol said they don't know when until they come to drop them off. So
Yeah.
that'll be 550 of these refugees.
Well, big time AJ's got something to say about all of this. AJ, welcome to the show, my brother.
Big time, CJ. What's up, Big Daddy? You know, for me to call twice in a dang on week, you know something ain't right here, Big Daddy. You know something ain't right. I tweeted Governor Abbott, and I told him, you know, hey, something got to be done here. We can't sit back and wait till this stuff hit us, man. This is a joke what we going through. These Democrats so pissed off at Donald Trump, they willing to put all of USA and under American. What they trying to put us in danger, man. What is this? This is a joke what we watching. How are they letting these people in our country like this, all these illegals with all these diseases, as we watch this stuff go down, and all we getting from Republicans is mouth. I'm sick of the mouth, man. When is they going to start acting? This is a joke we watching here. What's going on, man? Tell me something, man. Come on, talk to me.
Well, and not only that, but San Antonio has a problem right now with homelessness as it is. We've got people living on the streets out there. Where are we putting these 200 people? 350 right now. There's 200 more coming.
They're living in a church. There's a Catholic church that's taking them in until Saturday. After that, the church cannot house them. They don't know where they're going. I suggested Greg Popovich from the Spurs, being how welcoming he is, that he should open one of his mansions in the Hill Country and let them in.
Well, you know that ain't going to happen. So, you know, but the thing of it is, guys, you know, we talk about it, but, man, these Republicans got to get off their butts and start acting, man. Yes. And this is a joke what we watching. I mean, what are they thinking about? These people ain't thinking about our health. They ain't thinking about our safety or nothing. This is a travesty. And the Democrats are willing to do this, and then they put a criminal on a seat. They want a criminal to go against Trump, and this guy was charged. What is this? Man, what is going on? We ain't got nobody fighting but Donald Trump. He's the only man out there got his neck on the line.
We are in upside down land right now. We're at a point right now, AJ, where this government cares more about illegal immigrants than our own people. We're bending over backwards for people who don't belong in this country, who don't live in this country, while veterans are being killed and killing themselves.
20 a day.
And we've got homeless problems, not only in this state, but all the border states. I was just in New York. Holy cow, the homeless problem up there is crazy. And here we are talking about bringing in more people who can't afford to do anything and don't have homes.
Well, you ought to see California. It's the same way.
Yeah.
San Francisco, same way. They got diseases all across there. 900 homeless people dead, and we ain't heard nothing from the media about it. I mean, we got senators, they got shot. Them 2 senators got shot. We ain't heard nothing about that either. I mean, what is going on, guys? We know what's going on, but we the people, all who's listening, get on the people of this country, the real American people, and let's get out, man. Let's start bashing these people. This is a travesty what we watching, man. Well, what we going to do? We just going to sit back. Oh, when the first case of Ebola, that one idiot came on, I guess, Brigham show on Fox yesterday, talking about, well, yeah, it's a 21-day incubation period, and these people, they ain't got nothing because they've been here for 3 months or more, 6 months or more. Really? Are you serious? Come on, man. What is this?
Well, hey, AJ, if you got a couple minutes, can you stay on one more segment?
Yes, sir.
All right, hang on. I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll bring you right back. We got to go to a break. 866-895-6442, talking about the fact that we're about to get 600 illegal immigrants within 2 hours of you.
Need to sell your house? Most agents will put a sign in the ground, post it, and pray. My name is Ryan Smith of the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team and Keller Williams Realty, and I work hard to get my clients top dollar for their house. I'm so confident in my system that I will guarantee to sell your house in 90 days or less at a price you agree with, or I'll sell it for free. I've developed an exclusive marketing system proven to get you up to 18% more money. It doesn't cost anything to see what I can do for you. 254-213-5335. Using my system, I recently sold a house in Windmill Farms for David and Kim before their house even hit the market. I only get paid when you get results. Don't leave money on the table. Call me. No long-term contracts, no obligation. You're not happy, you change your mind, fire me. It is that easy. There's literally no reason not to call. 254-213-5335. That's 254-213-5335. We are the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team. Call us today and start packing tomorrow.
Here at the Logic Nation, we often encourage you to be logical. Now, I've got 2 more great words to live by. Get supplied. With Studio L as a center point, Smith Supply will provide you with everything to clean anything and deliver it on time within 150 miles. That means we can deliver cleaning supplies to any facility, any business, including hotels and motels, even industries and factories, anywhere in the Killeen, Temple, Fort Hood Metro, Waco, and Austin. No matter where you are, we can ship to your order. We also provide janitorial services and building maintenance in some areas. And our Temple showroom and our online catalog are open to the public. We're here to save you money and get your supplies to you on time, every time. So, get supplied. Since 1961, we're Smith Supply, 254-773-3592, and online at smithsupply.com.
Looking for a news source that gets you the news 12 to 18 hours after it happened? Sure you are. That's why you need the Morning Times Post. What better than walking out to your driveway and picking up a crisp, unless it's raining, feature paper? Nothing. The Morning Times Post. All the news we think you should know. Plus, our nameless liberal editorial board will help you know how to think about the news. Love Barack Obama? Scared of terrible earth-ending climate change? Voting for Hillary? You'll love the Morning Times Post opinion page. And wait, there's more. You need a subscription to also get our features. Want features on feeding the homeless? We got that. Will the marina be built right? I don't know, but you'll find out on our front page. Plus sports, comics, horoscopes. Where else you going to get that? Get your subscription today at our highest prices yet. The Morning Times Post. Good enough news source at $18.90. Good enough for you now.
All right, let's get back to AJ here. Let him finish up his thoughts. AJ, so these Congolese, how far are you? Houston's what, 2.5 hours from San Antonio?
At the most, yes, sir.
At the most, yeah. So about 600 illegal immigrants are dropped off at in the heart of Central Texas, which makes many of Texans near the destruction zone, the potential destruction zone. But you said that, you're saying, come on, what are we doing about this? What can we do about this? I mean, they're here. Well, now what? Now what do we do?
Well, the thing of it is, Governor Abbott needs to come on with it and stop all this right now.
Yes.
We cannot let these people in here. Everybody, tweet him, text him, I don't care. Tweet him, text him. He's the governor of our state. He's the man that protects this state. And he got to stop this tragedy that's about to hit this state. I mean, man, it's only going to take one outbreak to really take us down. And when that one hit, they ain't got no cure for it. What the world is, and that restaurant deal, what was that all about? Do these people understand what's going on? I mean, this is a travesty, guys.
Yeah, Kimura Restaurant. They're at 152 East Pecan Street, number 102. Phone number 210-444-0702. We ask that if you do call and talk to PJ, please be respectful, but just voice your concerns.
And the thing that Owen was doing, he was talking about this issue. He was not filming the restaurant.
Correct.
He was not making the restaurant the center. He was out there on the sidewalk, and they attacked him over this because, and I'm going to play, I haven't played it yet. Maybe if you're able to listen a little bit later, AJ, I'm going to play this guy. He says, what, you're not concerned about people with Ebola coming into this city? And he literally said, no, this is about humans.
So what about us? We human?
Yeah, exactly.
What about us?
But to the left, we aren't human. Americans are not human. We're the most inhumane people on the planet. Right. We have everything to apologize for, nothing to look forward to, and everyone else is right. It's America hating 101 on the left.
And this is a bad deal because Ebola hit with Obama. They let it go by. Obama let all these people in as well as others. And the thing of it is, they let him get a pass for it. And now it got away in some kind of way. We got rid of it. And now these people are really, you ain't checked these people out, man. How in the world are we going to let more come in here after all what we know about Congo? This is a joke we're watching. And then they talking about all the diseases that the illegals coming in from El Salvador and all them bringing in here. Measles, everything is coming back. What is America? You got to wake up, baby. This is a joke what we watching, man.
And even if America is asleep, Texas needs to wake up.
Yes.
At the very least, Texas needs to wake up and take care of Texans, not the Congolese. AJ, thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate it.
Big Daddy. Hey, keep our eyes open because, boy, we in trouble. This ain't about election no more. This is about because we don't know if these idiots are going to get in there to do anything. Look at them now. This is crazy.
Yeah,
Love
absolutely.
you guys, man.
Thank you, sir. Hey, God bless you, man. Luann, you're next from Temple. What's up?
Hey, I'm so glad you guys are giving some time and attention to this issue. It is so important. I started watching it, last week when the news reports came out. And I just wanted to remind people, I remember very clearly back in the fall of 2014 when we had that Ebola scare in Dallas.
Yes.
There was a man, a Liberian national, who named Thomas Duncan, who ended up dying of Ebola. He died at, I think it was Texas Presbyterian Hospital, and during that time there were a couple of nurses that were infected. One of the nurses had flown up to Ohio to go buy a wedding dress or something. I mean, there were people, they were tracking down people from those planes that were being quarantined. I can remember watching the news footage of them removing items from the apartment over off of Lover's Lane in Dallas from where this Duncan had been staying. It was massive, and I mean, the health people were having a fit over it. My daughter was up in Denton going to school during that time, and I told her, don't go into Dallas. Just stay out of there for now. And so it's amazing to me that was such a major deal. And then you have these people being so nonchalantly dropped off there in San Antonio.
And it's not even, Luann, it's not even just Ebola. There are over 87,000 cases of measles in the Congo, 1,500 deaths just in the last year from measles. And we're unchecked bringing in
Chagas, tuberculosis, there's all sorts of other diseases that people don't even have a familiarity that they once did because we haven't been having to deal with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other quick thing, too. I mean, it's scary them being there in San Antonio, but we've got to remember those illegal immigrants are also being shipped all sorts of other places.
Yes.
On another note from Dallas, John was attending a funeral in Dallas Saturday morning. Last week I sent him an article and said, oh, by the way, FYI, you may have some visitors at that service, because I found an article in the morning news that talked about a busload of illegals were going to be brought up to Dallas, and they were going to be dropped off at Oak Lawn Methodist Church, which is exactly where that funeral was going to be. And Saturday morning when he got there, the parking lot there was completely blocked off except for one small section for family members of our friend that had died. And the rest of the parking lot was blocked off full of buses from, as I guess Luis Gutierrez would say, our undocumented neighbors to show up, and he had to park 5 blocks away in order to be able to get into the chapel at this church.
Wow. Well, hang on, Luann. If you want to stay on and talk a little bit more about that, I got to go to a break here real quick, but we'll be right back talking to Luann and also talking to you. 866-895-6442 is the number.
Sir.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and text us.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
this is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
All right, 866-895-6442. Even as the homeless populations are decreasing in San Antonio, there's an increase in families without shelter, and yet we're bringing in 600 at least, just from Congo, about 600 people. Luann, you're talking about your husband went up to Dallas and was at one of the churches where they're dropping off some of these people, and the parking lot was cut off. Did he see any of those illegal immigrants?
From a distance. They did have them in some other parts of the building. They were using the facility there, and I guess they were using that kind of as a staging area, and then they were going to be transporting them to wherever they were going to be staying, during the course of their time there in Dallas. But, I mean, it personally just was a bit, to me, very, I don't know. I mean, I'm on the rude side that here you had a service that had been scheduled for a month.
Yeah.
And then the people that are coming, and a number of the people there were of an advanced age, and this is not an area where you can easily find parking.
Right.
And so, because you had to go off and park into side streets that were also residential streets, which residential streets, gosh, some people are home on Saturday morning, and this is one of those areas where there's a lot of people, residents, parking on the streets. And so, aside from, so just from a courtesy standpoint, I didn't think that was a very thoughtful thing that the church did. But, back to our more central issue, the idea that these people are coming in and they are being disseminated out throughout our communities. And a lot of the communities that they are being disseminated into, for instance, like when this Liberian man was there in Dallas and had Ebola, he was staying in an apartment complex which is known for it being very densely populated. I'm sure some of the other areas where these people are going to be housed are densely populated, which that even all the more exacerbates any type of contagious disease prospects.
And you bring up a good point here, because this was the question I was going to ask you and ask the audience out there. How are these people being fed? You just said they're being housed. Well, if we can house 600 Congolese, then we can house 600 Texans.
Yeah.
If we can feed 600 Congolese, we can feed 600 Texans.
Right.
And did you see any services or was there any organization out there that was providing for these guys?
I'm
How are they
sure- I'm
eating?
sure. Oh, yeah, no, there's all sorts of coordinated efforts. And now even, I know in the city of Dallas, they've recently set up some office of, I can't remember what it is. It's one of those PC names, something like, diversity and inclusion or something. But it's an office that is set up to cater to the needs of illegal immigrants that are being brought into their community.
And you got dietary restrictions for some of these people.
Who's paying for that? Us. Or in that case, Dallas taxpayers.
Yeah, and like Greg just said, a lot of these people have different dietary restrictions and religious restrictions on what they can and can't eat. So they're probably being catered to in that way.
Don't you know we're bending over backwards for all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're the bigots if we don't want them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. No, Texans, Americans need to be worried about this because, we're also finding now that there are some of our cities here that when there was one city that was looking to ship a bunch of people from the border up to Maine, somewhere up in Maine. And the people up in Maine said, no, the inn's full. You're going to have to put them someplace else. And so, there's a lot of cities that are just getting to their bursting point. I would not be surprised here in Central Texas for us to not hear at some point soon that we're going to have some people being relocated here.
Yeah, and what we need to do, hey, Luann, thanks for the call and for your perspective because we didn't even think about the Dallas.
Good show, guys.
Thanks. What we need to do as citizens is we need to make sure we're calling our city councils, our city managers, because they're the ones that are going to know, the city manager or the mayor, and find out whether you're in Temple, Killeen, Georgetown, doesn't matter where you are there plans to bring illegal immigrants into your community, Killeen? If there's going to be anywhere in this area in Bell County, I would think Killeen would probably be the place that's probably going to welcome them the most. But you need to know. You need to know as listeners, as citizens around here, because that's coming out of your paycheck. We've got governments right now that say they can't afford the services that citizens deserve. And yet we're spending money on everyone else out there that doesn't even belong to this country, that's coming in here illegally. So I would highly urge each of you out there to contact your city councils, contact your city managers, and get it in writing on whether or not illegals are coming to your community. When we come back from the break, got a lot more to talk about. Some Supreme Court cases that we should all be worried about because our constitutional liberties are at risk. 866-895-6442.
Been waiting so long. I know you've been wondering about me.
When you say you support the troops, do you mean it? Hi, this is Lou Diamond Phillips for the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Every day, more service members are coming home from combat. In many cases, they return to no job, no money, and a lifetime of stress. That's where the VFW steps in, providing emergency financial support with their Unmet Needs program.
Coming home. Come running up to me. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
For over 100 years, no one has done more for veterans than the VFW.
I'm coming home.
Please help us help them by texting the word HERO to 90999 for a $10 donation. That's HERO to 90999.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
Well, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control over my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Would you?
Look, no one likes an awkward silence, but it can do a lot of good. So seize the awkward.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Reach out to a friend who might be struggling with their mental health. It doesn't matter how you ask. For more information, visit seizetheawkward.org. All right, welcome back. Third and final hour of Logic Nation. CJ Grisham here standing in for David Hodges, and we've got Greg Holland here standing in for me.
Yes.
Somehow?
Yes,
In the
I'm
co-pilot chair?
Well, I'm on my knees right now, so I want to be fair and equal.
And we've also got Shane Currington watching through the window back there if you're watching on YouTube.
Shane.
So he's back there if you want to say hi to Shane for some reason. I don't know why. Anybody would want to do that?
He wears Crocs.
Because he is awesome. He wears Crocs. So, all right. Con, you're up first, the third hour of Logic Nation. Good morning, my friend.
Am I on the spot this morning? Hey, I just got a question for you. We know that Ebola is contagious and very, very deadly. My question is, and we know that it's contagious, is stupidity and insanity contagious? And
It's one of the most contagious diseases out there.
Well, we're experiencing that in this country. Pray tell me why Tom Steyer, who made billions of dollars in this country, now wants to destroy this country so no one else can do what he did. Now we have Christian churches like those in Dallas that want to bring in and flood the country with people that might be carrying Ebola, which will destroy the community. Now, they're doing this in the name of helping humanity, or do they not understand that by destroying this Judeo-Christian society we live in here, that we're not going to be helping humanity? Are those people insane, crazy, or what in the world is going on?
Yes.
Well, two things there. So first, yes, the stupidity is contagious, and I forgot what the second point was.
Insanity.
Insanity.
Well, it's deadly. It's contagious and deadly, just like Ebola.
I know what it was. You had mentioned Tom Steyer. So the second thing I had was he made his billion. This is classic liberalism. Hey, we've already succeeded in life. We've got our millions or billions or trillions or whatever we've got. We've got our nice big homes. We've got screw everyone else. Everyone else just be damned. So that's why people like Tom Steyer have no problems destroying this country. But you would think once you destroy this country, because wealth in America today is mostly virtual, especially with these billionaires. This is all virtual wealth.
Bitcoins and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
if the country implodes under socialism, that wealth is going to go away. Now, they might still be taken care of because they're a part of that socialist system. And socialists, as we know, take care of themselves, and communists take care of themselves. But that's why people like Tom Steyer have no problems pushing for the destruction of this country, is because they know they're going to be protected under a socialist or communist government.
Well, what excuse does the Christian community have? You know, are they all Christians following Obama? Obama's first statement was he wanted to fundamentally change America.
Well,
did the Christian community fall into that and want to follow that example? Is that what we're doing?
Well, here's the problem. Here's what's going on with the Christian churches is that Satan and socialism, which is the same thing, have infiltrated many of our churches. Unfortunately, Christianity has been. I mean, look at the Catholic Pope, and I don't mean to denigrate a major religious leader, but he has espoused illegal immigration, socialism, Now, he's made some pretty decent statements lately about LGBTQ stuff, but we've got way too. Gosh, you go down to Austin, there are churches that their entire premise is on supporting gay community, and not just supporting them by providing them love, which is what all Christians should do, is love your neighbor, even if you disagree with what they're doing. But I'm talking about encouraging it. And so then you've also got studies out there that we are at a point right now at the lowest point of church attendance in American history. The number of people who say they go to church. Do you think the two things are related, Con?
Well, but why would you want to go to church and hear someone preach and espouse destruction of the United States?
Exactly.
And I used the example not long ago of if you have 1,000 acres of land, you got 100 head of cows on it. If you increase it 600% this year, you won't have a pasture or cows either next year. Do Christians not understand that principle? Do they not understand, what I'm talking about? Do they not understand overpopulation? Do they not understand changing the society that we live in and changing it into a different kind of society with a different religion, a different culture, a different traditional values? What about this does the Christian community not understand?
Well, and like I said, I think the two are connected. When you've got this creeping socialism, when you've got churches that are espousing the destruction of America, when you have politicians that think Louis Farrakhan is a beacon of what religious piety is, no wonder people aren't going to church anymore. I wouldn't want to go to church if I go to church and they're trying to tell me that good is bad and bad is good.
Yeah.
Well, and it's fine. I think the cowboy churches are growing, and I am really, really glad to see that. I don't belong to one, but I'm glad to see that kind of a church growing because they still use a little bit of common sense. And some of the organized religions, I think, have lost their way.
Yeah.
Most of them, it seems like.
Yep, very, very good. Very good point there, Con. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. And, this goes back also, I think we talked about this a while ago about the cowboy code, and it had come under attack. One of the things is, this is the cowboy code, and this is why I think there's a growth in these cowboy churches that Con was talking about. Number one, the cowboy must never shoot first, hit a smaller man, or take unfair advantage, must never go back on his word or trust confided in him, must always tell the truth, must be gentle with children, the elderly, and animals, must not advocate or possess racially or religiously intolerant ideas, must help people in distress, must be a good worker, must keep himself clean in thought, speech, action, and personal habits, must respect women, parents, and the nation's laws, and the cowboy is a patriot. Those are the 10 laws of the cowboy code. Those are Gene Autry's cowboy code.
Those will get you thrown in a gulag if it's up to a socialist.
Right. And these cowboy ethics, I think we did a story a few months ago about how this was under attack. The cowboy ethics was a bad thing. But I think that's why there's that growth in the cowboy churches. All right, moving on to some things here. Audio, you remember back during the election when during the primaries of our Senate race here in Central Texas, Senate 24, Susan King was running for Senate against Dawn Buckingham, and some TV stations and media were trying to get, because of some mental breakdown that she had, was trying to get phone calls and all kinds of stuff. A court has recently just ruled that Abilene police cannot disclose audio recordings of King's interactions with officers during the 2015 incident inside and outside her home. However, they also ruled that all the police reports of the incident are matters of public interest. So our courts, we're going to talk about this when we come back from the break. What is going on with our legal system? What is going on with our legal system? We're going to talk about it. 866-895-6442 is the number.
Social Security disability attorney Ed Laughlin.
Are you disabled and unable to work?
Have you been denied your Social Security disability benefits? Well, tell the federal government that you mean business. Call me toll-free at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule an immediate appointment with me in Killeen, Temple, or Waco. I'll appeal your denial and work hard to get you the benefits that you deserve. That's 1-800-492-2589. The phone call is free, and so is the appointment. You'll feel a lot better.
Here at the Logic Nation, we often encourage you to be logical. Now, I've got 2 more great words to live by. Get supplied. With Studio L as a center point, Smith Supply will provide you with everything to clean anything and deliver it on time within 150 miles. That means we can deliver cleaning supplies to any facility, any business, including hotels and motels, even industries and factories, anywhere in the Killeen, Temple, Fort Hood Metro, Waco, and Austin. No matter where you are, we can ship to your order. We also provide janitorial services and building maintenance in some areas. And our Temple showroom and our online catalog are open to the public. We're here to save you money and get your supplies to you on time, every time. So, get supplied. Since 1961, we're Smith Supply, 254-773-3592, and online at smithsupply.com. Here at Logic Nation, we're here to inform you, entertain you, and engage you.
We're also here to keep you informed about great products and services. Our goal is to seek out great sponsors for 2 major reasons.
The first reason is that we need sponsors to ensure that we can continue bringing you cutting-edge commentary, sound bites, and callers.
Second, we love telling you about companies that make your life better.
That's logical.
So make your company a part of our radio family.
At logicnation.us. Today.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online for like a year. She couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, at-risk teens, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you to store your firearms safely. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Little Aerosmith, Run DMC there for you. So, all kinds of court cases coming up. First of all, attorneys for a Denver woman have greased the pan yet again. This is out of CBS in Denver. They are, Jack Phillips, the owner of Masterpiece Cake Shop, is once again, for the 3rd time, being sued for refusing to bake a cake. You might remember back in 2012 when all this started, he refused to bake a cake for a same-sex couple in Denver on the basis of his religious beliefs. That case went all the way through the court system, culminating with the Supreme Court a year ago in a 7-2 decision that was partially in favor of Phillips. They did not rule on the larger issue of whether businesses can invoke religious objections to refuse service to gays and lesbians, but they did decide that the baker owner had been subjected to anti-religious bias by state civil rights agencies. Well, this latest lawsuit was filed in Denver District Court on behalf of Autumn Scardina by attorneys Paula Greason and John McHugh. Scardina had a previous lawsuit against Phillips following her request for a cake, an order she placed on the day after the SCOTUS ruling. So you know what she's doing.
No intentions there.
No intentions there whatsoever. No, it's not. She's not trying to cause problems.
No.
Previous reports say that her order was for a cake celebrating her gender transition. Thursday, Greason called it an order for a birthday cake. So her initial lawsuit was not successful. The second one was dismissed, frankly, without our input. said Greason. They disregarded Miss Scardina and the merits of her claim. There was no merits to her claim.
Zero. It was malicious intent, just to clog up the court system.
Do we even own our labor? I mean, do these people think that they have a right to force us to perform a service for anybody? I think if somebody doesn't want to serve me because I'm short, white, male, balding, whatever, they should have that right to do so.
Sure.
I mean, why should I be forced to work for some, or if I just find your politics disgusting?
Right.
Why is it we can discriminate against somebody for carrying a self-defense tool? Right? I can't force someone to serve me just because I'm carrying a firearm legally, but yet I have to serve someone because of their mental illness. The dignity of all citizens. This is what Greason said. The dignity of all citizens in our state needs to be honored. Masterpiece Cake Shop said before the Supreme. You know, it's almost like, is there even another cake shop in the entire Denver, Colorado city?
Get out of my head. I am sure that now, are schools being denied to people who claim to have the mental illness of transgenderism? Are they bakers? I'm sure they are. I mean, I bake. Little cat out of the bag there. Greg, this guy, likes to bake. That's what I do at the household. I don't cook the meals. I bake. I'm not transgender or anything, but last time I checked. But I like to bake. Anybody can bake. Go to a different bakery.
Greason said the dignity of all citizens of our state needs to be honored. Masterpiece Cake Shop said before the Supreme Court that they would serve any baked good to members of the LGBTQ community. It was just the religious significance of it being a wedding cake. We don't believe they've been honest with the public. In the complaints text, Scardina's attorneys cite testimony in previous court proceedings. Mr. Phillips, for himself and on behalf of Masterpiece Cake Shop, confirmed they would happily make the exact same cake requested by Miss Scardina for other customers. Phillips, contacted by the bakery, said he suspected that further legal activity was cooking. A formal statement was later distributed on his behalf, saying that it looks like yet another desperate attempt to harass cake artist Jack Phillips, and it stumbles over the one detail that matters most. Jack serves everyone. He just cannot express all messages through his custom cakes. So he will make you a cake if you're gay or whatever, but don't expect him to use his art to express something that violates his religious principles.
Right.
If you just want a birthday cake that says "Happy Birthday, Julie," he'll give you a "Happy Birthday, Julie" cake.
Because I don't go to a Muslim bakery and expect a bacon flavored icing to be put on it. I wouldn't do that. That's just dumb.
Right.
I wouldn't do it.
Well, maybe we should. So that's
the difference between them and us, though.
Yeah.
One, we wouldn't waste our time. Two, we respect them to not do that.
If I'm gonna go somewhere that I'm not that I am not allowed to be, or that I'm not respected, I just don't go there. I don't force them to serve me. If I know that they're uber liberal type people who are constantly talking a smack about white males, I just don't go there.
Yeah.
I don't force them to serve me knowing they don't want me there.
That's right.
So in another case, the famed Ninth Circuit, the most overturned circuit in the United States, actually made a decent decision here. And this is another point for discussion I'd like to hear your thoughts about. But police received a tip of a black man with a gun in a concealed carry state, and the court said they did not have reasonable suspicion to stop the man. Now, this story out of the ABA Journal, the American Bar Association, is rampant with social justice cues. So, I mean, they had to constantly talk about the fact that it's a black man throughout this story. But the Ninth Circuit have said that police who stopped a fleeing black man after a gun tip don't have reason to stop him. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco granted a motion to suppress evidence found by police after they stopped Daniel Derek Brown, ordered him to the ground at gunpoint, found a gun in his waistband, and then found drugs and cash. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my.
Somebody's carrying cash?
Fiat currency? I mean, he's not carrying imaginary Bitcoin. Please go on.
Cash. Police have begun following Brown after they received a call from a YWCA employee in Seattle who reported that an unidentified person had reported seeing someone with the gun. They then described the gentleman that was being stopped there. Now, some people look at the fact that, well, look, he was breaking the law. He had drugs on him, but that was never reported. He's in a state where it's legal to carry a firearm, a concealed firearm with a license. And so there's not a crime there.
Right.
And the report was just that, hey, I think this black man has a gun. That's it. There's a concealed handgun. There was the story says there was no indication that the unidentified person, the man that was stopped, that reported the man, was alarmed by the gun. There's no indication that the man had been harassing or threatening anyone, and yet they called the police on him. And the police decided, instead of saying, well, that's perfectly legal, decided they were going to go track the man down and at gunpoint put him on his face. Well, the Ninth Circuit said that with no reliable tip, no reported criminal activity, no threat of harm, no suggestion that the area was known for high crimes or narcotics, no command to stop, and no requirement to even speak with the police, we are left with little more than Brown's flight from the officers, which is not enough under the circumstances. The Ninth Circuit ruled a few days after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that police violated the Fourth Amendment when they stop people simply because they're carrying concealed guns. People who obtain a license can carry a concealed gun in the state. So both cases are considered, considered whether the investigatory police stops were justified under the Terry v. Ohio. So what we've got now is we've got two additional, in addition to all the cases that are already out there. Here in Texas, we've got Brown v. Texas, Black v. U.S., and several other cases in addition to Terry v. Ohio that make it very clear that just because you're carrying a firearm in a state where you're allowed to carry a firearm, license or no license, the police cannot default to felon with a firearm. That cannot be the default. Well, I need to know if you can legally carry that. Is not a legal basis for a stop. So when someone makes a phone call to 911 or the police saying that an individual has a firearm, openly or concealed, obviously, I guess you have to see the print of a concealed, or maybe if you reach up, they might see it underneath your shirt or something, or maybe they see the clip of a holster or the bottom of a holster or something. The fact that you are carrying a firearm in a state where it's legal is not probable cause for a stop, and it's definitely not probable cause to point a gun at a citizen and order them on their face. We have rights in this country. So this is one of those cases that the Ninth Circuit got right. It's not a hard case for the Ninth Circuit because there's plenty of, like I said, there's plenty of jurisprudence out there that makes it very clear that carrying a firearm where legal is not a legal basis. Now, if the officer knows for a fact that the individual carrying the firearm is a felon, that's probable cause because you know that person's a felon. You see the firearm, but a report of a firearm is not. So, talk a little bit more about this. We got a few more, one more Supreme Court case. Get to your phone calls, 866-895-6442, right after the break.
DWI and criminal defense attorney Ed Laughlin.
Just because you or a loved one has been pulled over or arrested for DWI does not mean you're guilty of DWI. I'm attorney Ed Laughlin, and to be arrested and charged with DWI, the officer has to only have probable cause that you're intoxicated. It's only the officer's opinion. However, to be convicted of DWI, your guilt must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a much stricter burden. If you have been arrested for DWI or any other offense and want an attorney who will rigorously defend you, call me at 1-800-492-2589 or log on to my website at edlaughlin.com. Over the past 25 years as an attorney, I've been both a prosecutor and now a defense attorney. You need an experienced attorney who will work hard to get you the justice that you deserve.
What are you waiting for? Call Ed now at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule a free confidential appointment or visit Ed's website at edlaughlin.com. First visit is always free. You're going to feel a whole lot better. See Ed's ad and names and numbers.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
3, 2, 1. Oh no. Which button am I?
When every second counts, you can't wing it.
Guys, a little help up here?
In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So make a family home fire escape plan. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year so everyone knows what to do when they hear. Prepare your family at ready.gov/fire drill. Brought to you by FEMA, the Ad Council, and Make Safe Happen.
I can't believe he found them.
He seems sorry.
We very clearly told him not to look up there.
I'm honestly impressed that he was able to do it.
Right? What did he balance on that big chair?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll just know what his gifts are this year.
I really thought we had hidden them well.
If they can find their presents, they can find a gun.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
All right, so the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, thank you, Justice Stevens, just made it easier for the police to arrest you just for filming them. This is an interesting case because it's a recent case, but when I was up in New York, I was watching some street performers doing some basketball bobbling and things. It was really cool. And so I was filming this. Well, 2 NYPD officers came up, and they had a little itty-bitty Bluetooth speaker that was kind of playing some music, and they were doing their set or whatever it was, their show to the music. It was really neat, really, really impressive. And the police came up, and they're like, hey, you need to literally, there were some blue lines on the concrete. I don't know. I couldn't hear exactly what was being said because it's so loud in New York City. But what it appeared to me is they had to move from where they were to a place about 7 feet away. And that's where
the
they
blue line on the ground.
The little blue line on the ground. There's like a blue line down there. and apparently they told them to turn the music off, which it wasn't even that loud. It was a little Bluetooth, probably, 5 inches wide and maybe 2 inches deep. A little small Bluetooth thing that goes to the phone. And so when they turned off the music, I was like, oh, man. And so I started filming them because I'm like, I turned the camera from the street performers to the officers, and I started filming the officers. One of the officers came up to me and asked, why are you filming me? But the Supreme Court, the First Amendment makes it unconstitutional for government agencies or officials to retaliate against you because they don't like your speech. There was actually just a federal lawsuit in which we were talking about this during the break, where charges against 3 members of a white supremacist gang, these charges were dismissed because it was under a statute that basically makes free speech, it criminalizes free speech, and it doesn't hurt anybody. So even if this case was about some riots that had happened, some racist, violent. Here, let me just read this thing. Violent rallies. That's what I was looking for in 2017. But the justices said that the statute used to criminalize them is unconstitutional. They are a part of a violent racist organization based in Southern California. What the court ruled was, look, you can charge them for the assaults if there are assaults that happen, if there's violence that happens, but you can't charge them just based off of their racist speech.
Right.
Now, most people, like 99.9% of people, can't stand racists. I can't stand racists. But this is what I liked the most about this case was the judge said, it's easy to champion free speech when it advocates a viewpoint with which we agree. It is much harder when speech promotes ideas that we find aberrant. But an essential function of free speech is to invite dispute. Speech may indeed best serve its high purpose when it induces a condition of unrest, creates dissatisfaction with conditions as they are, and even stirs people to anger. And he's so right there. I want racists to be able to speak their stupidity.
That's right.
Because I want to be able to identify them.
Right.
Okay, I'm not messing with that guy.
Right.
I don't want anything to do with that business. Oh, that business. This is why I think businesses, if businesses want to, they should be allowed to ban people with guns, just like they should be allowed to ban people who are white or black or male or female or gay or straight or
their
whatever.
business.
Muslims, Christians, it doesn't matter. It's their business. And then I have a right to say, oh, okay, you don't like black people? Well, I'm not going to give you my business. I might not be a black person, but I'm not going to support racism.
Right.
That's what free speech is about. You have a right to be an idiot.
That's exactly
and
right.
speak stupidity. And I have a right to say, you're an idiot and you're stupid and I'm not going to have anything to do with you. And that's what this federal court said. Well, now you've got, and that's what the First Amendment protects, is it protects speech with which we disagree. And so the Supreme Court has invented a rule that will often allow police officers to arrest people in retaliation for disfavored speech without liability. Here's what it is. The case is Nieves versus Bartlett. The divided court ruled that individuals cannot sue police officers for retaliatory arrests if those officers had probable cause to arrest them for any crime, no matter how minor. So here's what happens, right? This is the way it works, because I see it happen here in Texas all the time. People who go out and film the police, even if they're not doing anything wrong, the police sometimes don't like it. They'll go up and start harassing people who are filming them. The people who are filming them will assert their rights and offend the police for doing so. Well, then what the police will do is they'll say, I need you to move back. I need you to move over there. You're interfering with my investigation. Even though they're not saying a word, they're literally just standing there. And that's what this case is about. They're literally just standing there filming, not saying anything, not getting in the way. But the police say, you need to move. And if you don't, that's obstruction of justice. In my case in Olmos Park, you know what they came up with? They came up with 4 bogus charges for me. First one, of course, was assaulting a peace officer, which
that
was weird.
I watched that video so many times, I still couldn't see it.
But because I was on a sidewalk, even though I wasn't stopping anybody from moving, obstruction of a sidewalk, interference with the duties of a peace officer, and resisting arrest. Interference with the duties of a peace officer is another big one. So what the Supreme Court said here, actually, I want to get more into this, because this is a big case, and this is a problem, is that an officer can allege a crime, an actual crime, especially one that is overly and extensively broad. And if he doesn't like the fact that you're filming him, can just use that, and you can't sue if he arrests you in retaliation. We're going to get back into this right after this.
Need to sell your house? Most agents will put a sign in the ground, post it, and pray. My name is Ryan Smith of the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team and Keller Williams Realty. My business is based on getting top dollar for my clients. I believe in that so much that I will put my money where my mouth is. I will sell your house in 90 days or less, guaranteed, or I'll sell it for free. I've developed an exclusive marketing system proven to get you up to 18% more money. If you want to know how I do it, I'll send you a copy of my marketing plan for free. 254-213-5335. Using my system, I recently sold a house for Brandon and Cassidy in Temple's Windham Hill subdivision at the top of the market. My system gets full price offers, multiple offers, and bidding wars. That means you make the most money. Don't take chances with your equity. No obligation, no commitments. You're not happy? I'll let you out of the program. There's literally no reason not to call. 254-213-5335. That's 254-213-5335. We are the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team. Call us today and start packing tomorrow.
At Logic Nation, our power is in our callers. In fact, Pat's on the phone. Pat, welcome to Logic Nation. What's on your mind today?
I get that you're the Logic Nation, but what about love, peace, and harmony, man? Why don't you ever talk about these issues?
We try to keep our listeners informed about local issues that matter to them, both locally here in the great state of Texas and in our nation.
You talk an awful lot about freedom and constitutional rights, but what about my right to express my emotions like love, peace, and harmony? What about my right to not be offended by what you're saying?
Well, Pat, you've gotten off the logic train, and now you're boarding the emotional express. That's a high-speed rail to nowhere. Here at Logic Nation, irrational emotional instability has no place in logical discussion.
But I need constant reassurance that my emotional stability will be coddled and my opinions force-fed to me.
Listen to Logic Nation Monday through Friday from 8 to 11 a.m., right before Rush, right here on KTEM, where logic is never derailed by emotion.
Has your perfect candidate been eliminated from a political race? Have your values and conceits been put upon and bruised? Well, don't fret over hashtag dumps or I'll never whatevers. It's time for you to try Voter Agra. Yes, Voter Agra takes your deep depression from your candidate losing and makes your vote rise like a phoenix from the ashes of defeat. Voter Agra makes you turn down griping and moaning and lets you enjoy the old-time thrill of voting. So lose your sullenness and get your voter suddenness back with huge results. Voter Agra. Isn't it time you tried Voter Agra and got back into the political game again? Voter Agra. Available now at IHateAllCandidates.com and I'm right and everyone else is wrong.com. Voter Agra.
All right. So the Supreme Court has said that individuals cannot sue police officers for retaliatory arrest, even if those officers had probable cause to arrest them for any crime, no matter how minor. And that's true even if the real reason for the arrest was speech that the officers didn't like. So if you flip them the bird, or you're just filming, which is protected under the First Amendment as well, they can arrest you and you can't sue them. And in other words, if you're jaywalking in violation of a local ordinance, officers can arrest you without fear of liability, even if they're making the arrest only because you're participating in a Black Lives Matter rally or wearing a MAGA hat. And I've seen this very often where, so here's our interference with the duties of a peace officer statute here in Texas. I think it's 4301 or 4306, something like that. It literally says that essentially if you just don't do what an officer tells you to do, that's interference. If you interfere with the lawful duties or lawful order, lawful commands of an officer. Well, what if that lawful command is you're already 20 feet away and you're filming, and the officer says, hey, I want you to move another 30 feet away. And if you don't, that's interference because I don't like the fact that you're filming me. Or maybe you're holding a sign that says, you do not have to consent to a search. And the officer doesn't like the fact that you've got a sign up that says you don't have to consent to a search. You can say no because he wants to search that vehicle and he doesn't want the person to know their rights. You can't sue them if they arrest you for that. This is our Supreme Court. And, local laws are full of these minor infractions like, quote, loitering that are frequently violated without incident. police will use these as a heck, in my case, apparently I was walking down the wrong side of the road. A completely minor issue that they used as a pretext, after the fact, of course. It was never mentioned on the street or in any of the initial reports or anything like that, or in any of the filing documents or information. And they can use that if it's an anti-gun officer or he doesn't like your sign or your MAGA hat or whatever, and you're walking down the wrong side of the road, so, I can get him on that. That's what the Supreme Court has just said.
You got Raymond.
It's absolutely despicable. I don't know what it's going to take. I've said there are three pillars that have to happen before a civil war would be necessary. The first is a breakdown in law enforcement. And law enforcement has to become completely ineffective or completely corrupt, first of all. Then, after that, it takes the court system to protect the individual who has been targeted or society that has been sort of affected by this corruption and this tyranny at the police officer level. And if that fails, then it takes the legislature not fixing the laws being used by corrupt politicians so that the courts can hold them accountable. When those three institutions fail, when the police are able to do whatever they want, the courts won't hold the officers accountable, and the legislature won't put the courts back in its place, then that's when civil war will be necessary.
KrisAnne Hall, and for those of you who do not follow KrisAnne Hall on any social media, she's on every single social media platform. Please go follow her. She's a constitutional attorney, and she is just absolutely brilliant. She said, we try to fight the corrupt law enforcement agencies in the court that's run by the government. You tell me how that's going to run after they bankrupt your family and put you on the streets. So sometimes the courts aren't the best. We try to do the right thing. We want to do the right thing, but sometimes the courts aren't the best avenue. You have to find alternative means.
Raymond, you're next on Logic Nation. Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. I was just going to mention, concerning law enforcement, I'm not pinpointing all of them. There's decent law enforcement officers out there, and there's bad ones. But my issue is this, the majority of these officers, they're not trained for nothing. Some of them come out of McDonald's, Lowe's, that they just, I'm going to be a police officer, So that's what that's about. And then another thing I was going to say is this, who can legally kidnap you, put you in jail, and then have a ransom put out for you to get out of jail? Law enforcement. And all it's about is money, 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 money. That's all it's about. How to figure out how to take your money, how to take your time, how to get you put in jail. And a lot of these people, like I say, some are corrupt, some are good, but the majority of them need to be cleaned up and straightened out. You have a good day, son.
Hey, thank you, sir. Yeah, and what it is, there are some great there are great police officers out there. The problem is twofold. One, they're not doing anything about the bad cops.
Right.
And those that are doing things about the bad cops are pushed out.
That's right.
By the bad cops.
That's exactly right.
And so we're getting fewer and fewer of those. All right, when we come back, one more. Oh, no, we got two more segments, I think. We'll take your phone calls.
Here's the way most people think of work zones on Texas highways.
I drive all over the state, and work zones are everywhere. They really slow me down.
Oh, they make me crazy. I have to drop my speed from 65 to 55 to 45. Can't they just finish already?
I depend on my cruise control, but every time I come into a work zone, I've got to turn it off and on and off and back on again. It's frustrating.
And those frustrations are understandable. But if people thought about it realistically, they might say things like this.
I'm slowing down and being extra careful because I don't want to cause a crash or get hurt or kill somebody.
Oh, sure, it's a pain right now, but when they're finished, we're going to have the best roads in the country.
Work zone ahead. Fines double. I'm slowing down.
Last year, more than 15,000 crashes occurred in Texas work zones, and more than 100 people lost their lives. So when you enter a work zone, slow down, pay extra attention, and stay away from that cell phone. Be safe. Drive smart. This message brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
In the forest near the side of the road.
No need for alarm, sir. The forest is where bears live.
But this was no ordinary bear.
No ordinary bear?
Yeah, 1 second I'm having a smoke taken in the view. Next thing I know, I am face to face with Smokey Bear.
Let me guess, Smokey had a tip for you.
He did. He must have seen me toss my cigarette on the ground. He told me never to do that because it only takes one spark to start a wildfire.
He's a smart bear. Did you know that 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans? That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
That's what Smokey said. I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous, and you're not.
Good point.
If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference, because 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Psst. Yeah, it's me, your heart. Listen to me. We've got to talk. High blood pressure is serious, and yours? Whoa. What happened to us? We used to be so much more active, but lately you've been ignoring me. I know you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away forever, but you're wrong. You can do so much more to control your high blood pressure. Doing the minimum isn't doing enough. I'm under a lot of pressure and can quit whenever I want. Bet you didn't know that. But I like my job. Just treat me better. Check on me. Give me something green to nibble on every once in a while. And maybe we can do some exercise on occasion. Let's get to it. After all, we're in this together.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
All right. Last segment of the show. I haven't done any clips, and I want to get some clips in because we only got a few minutes left, and some of these are really good. Eric Swalwell is comparing the Democrat field to the Avengers? Yeah.
Thank you, Iowa. Congratulations to tonight's honorees, and welcome to my fellow candidates, whom I consider we are all a part of being the Avengers. The Republicans in 2016, that was the Hunger Games. We're all in this with your help and support to save this country that we love so much. But you've already done some of that work. The work that you did in 2018 by making history and sending the first 2 women to the House of Representatives, were you done when you did that work? No.
Yeah, there we go. The pandering of Eric Swalwell. But what's funny is I think a lot of people were going, "Who's this kid? Wait, when did we turn this over to the schoolyard geek? This. What is going on here?" Well, he told he had his great line. "I'm going to be bold without the bull." I just don't think it sold very well.
He's going to be bull without the beep.
Yeah, listen to the audience reaction to this applause line.
But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bold. My wife and I.
Insert cricket noises. Yeah. Be bold without the bold. What does that mean?
I think the audience forgot to clap about that.
Well, the applause sign didn't come on.
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh my goodness. AOC says that you have the right to own a home, and that your right to have a home outweighs someone else's right to a profit.
So when we talk about what are we doing to make sure that housing is being legislated as a human right? What does that mean? What it means is that our access and our ability and our guarantee to having a home comes before someone else's privilege to earn a profit.
Wow. If that's not as socialist as it comes, your right to have a home outweighs anyone else's privilege to earn a profit. Absolutely amazing. And then Matt Gaetz, one of my favorite, he's become one of my favorite politicians, awesome. Ripped into, this is what the Democrats were upset about. John Dean was testifying yesterday in the House Judiciary Committee, and unfortunately, the thing that happened, the helicopter crash in New York, took away a lot of his thunder. But Matt Gaetz went after John Dean, who the Democrats brought there for a show to try and just attack and trash Trump, and Matt Gaetz wasn't having any of it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record a December 30th, 2005 essay written by Mr. John Dean entitled George W. Bush as the New Richard Nixon, both wiretapped illegally and impeachably.
Without objection.
Mr. Dean, how many American presidents have you accused of being Richard Nixon?
I actually wrote a book about Mr. Bush and Mr. Cheney with the title Worse Than Watergate.
So it's sort of become a cottage. Did you make money on that book?
It was a very successful book,
How much money did you make on it?
I'm sorry, I don't have any idea.
More than $1 million?
No.
More than $500,000?
I said I don't have any idea.
How much money do you make from CNN?
I don't really know exactly. I think I'm going to
object. In comes Nadler to save his liberal guy there. Now, this was John Dean's opening statement, okay? Remember, these witnesses are sworn in to tell the truth during this testimony, right?
Whose truth?
Yeah, exactly, but this is how John Dean opened up his testimony.
The last time I appeared before your committee was July 11, 1974, during the impeachment inquiry of Richard Nixon.
Right here.
Clearly, I'm not here today as a fact witness.
Why? Whoa. If you're not here as a fact witness, why are you even here? This is the Democrats have gone full blown. Look,
well, that's why they call Michael Cohen
yes.
as an expert witness when they opened up the 116th Congress.
Liberalism is truly a mental disorder, and they had 3 different professors on there, all anti-Trump professors, just talking again, and the whole thing was about what? The Mueller report again.
Yeah.
The Mueller report nonsense. It boggles my mind.
It's just dumb.
He even said, I'm not here as a fact witness, which means he's there as an opinion witness, which is not what I want Congress to be wasting time and money on.
That's right.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for the phone calls. Thanks for just being you.
Thanks for being logical.
And being logical. Tomorrow, David and I will be back. You'll be back. Take care. Be safe. Be free. God bless the United States of America. And God bless our president, Donald J. Trump.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.